In the readings for this week, and even this Mercy Sunday, or Thomas Sunday, it used to be called, we find a lot of people moving around. The girls, Mary Magdalene, from whom Jesus expelled 7 demons, is wandering in the garden. She was the first, by the way, to receive the message of the resurrection. And then you have the ones who gave up. 2 disciples gave up, and they were going out to the country, get away. The rest of the disciples were fearful and afraid. They were sheltering at home. I think that's the term they use, or sheltering in place. For fear of the Jews, the doors are all locked. Isn't that how we are? Afraid. Afraid now of some virus that's going to kill us. Not afraid of what brought the virus on us. Not afraid of sinning, and not putting masks over our hearts to not allow any sin out to infect the world. Not putting a mask on our mouth to clean it up from all the filth that we say, or a mask on our mind to keep the filth, the dirt, the hatred out of our mind. All this evil comes from that first pollution, that first evil that came through from the garden, Adam and Eve. We're not afraid of sin, we're just afraid of the effects of sin. So anyway, the apostles are hunkering down, and they're all with closed doors. And the girls come and tell them, we've met the seed in the Lord, and they don't believe. Then the 2 disciples who had given up, they went to a little town to escape the Jews, and then a stranger comes and tells them all the things that they really don't understand. They don't see the stranger, because only the pure see God, and not the fearful, not the doubtful, not those who have no faith, but those who really see God, understand by the pure in heart. As we see John, immediately at the resurrection day, sees and believes the empty tomb. He sees the folded napkin, and he believes. So my question today is, which way are you heading? Are you heading out of town to escape the effects of the virus? Many have walked away from the church. They've had their fill. Church can't do anything for them. Church is filled with sinners. They want to go to a new place, a little town where they can have their own religion, their own way. But Pentecost is coming, where God put it, with the 12 apostles, with Peter. And Pentecost is nothing other than the Holy Spirit coming in a very frightful way, with earthquakes and shaking and fire and change. And we don't want change. We want to keep on keeping on our own way. But that's not how God works. He gives us a merciful verdict of our guilt. People want justice and peace, but justice will never bring peace. Justice will only bring more justice. The Jews want justice. The Arabs, the Muslims want justice. The Christians want justice. In the city of peace, each one has their own section, and they build walls to protect themselves from each other, because they want their just rewards. They want their rights. But God doesn't preach justice. He preaches mercy. Unless there's mercy, there'll never be peace. Unless we give up our rights, give up our holding on to our way and adopt God's way, peace will never come, not to Jerusalem, not to our hearts, not to our world, no place. So Mercy Sunday is a day to ask yourself, Quo Vadis? Those are the words that came to a man who was no less a coward when he was being the Bishop of Rome than he was when he was a follower of Jesus on the day he was betrayed. This Peter, this rock, heads out of Rome to escape the powers to be, as we leave the church to escape being ridiculed and following this failed religion. We want to find a new place. And then he runs into Jesus. But he knows Jesus. And Jesus asks him only one question, Quo vadis? I guess that was kept in the Vatican archives down below from the very first. And the question in English is, where are you going? And he asked that of Jesus. And Jesus says, I'm going back to Rome. And Peter says, why? To die again. Unless we die to self, unless we die to our plans and our fears and are afraid of crossing the world and crossing the higher ups and crossing those who know a better way, the doctors and the lawyers and everyone else. We can never be crucified because it's in staying in Rome, it's in staying in Jerusalem that the mercy of God is received. The Holy Spirit comes. And what is his gift? It's hidden away in the gospel today. He breathes on them. First Pentecost. The Spirit of Christ is the Spirit of Spirit of Jesus is the Spirit of the church, the Spirit that gives life to the church. And he says, receive the Holy Spirit. Whose sins you shall forgive, they are forgiven. All of those who say to themselves, I don't have to go to a priest. I can forgive my own sins. I go right to the Father. What an insult to Jesus. I don't need Jesus. I go right to the Father and I get my forgiveness. But God put an obstacle to forgiveness. He wanted us to humble ourselves before the Jesus crucified, alive and well in the body, because Jesus is only the head. The body is his church. And it was on that church, hidden away, frightened and afraid. The day of the resurrection is the first Pentecost, when he went through those closed doors and broke into the closed hearts and closed minds and said, why are you so slow to believe? Peace be with you. And peace comes from mercy. Whose sins you shall forgive, they are forgiven. Ask God for mercy, not for yourself, but give it away to those around you. And lo and behold, you'll find the peace you've been seeking for in all the wrong places. And mercy will come to you, because as you give mercy, it drops like a gentle rain from heaven. It blesses him that gives, and him that takes is mightiest in the mighty, becomes the crowned monarch better than his throne. And this man does show himself like unto God. We all pray for justice. And we pray either for mercy, justice for others, and mercy for ourselves. But that prayer of mercy teaches us to render deeds of mercy. May God help us this day and every day not to pray for justice for our world, but for mercy.